When Earth's dead still hold the line. The year was 2789, an age when humanity's flag flew across hundreds of stars. But at the far edge of the Orion Arm, on a small, quiet world called New Avalon, that flag had gone dark. No distress signal, no emergency beacon, just silence. For 3 weeks, the colony's transmissions had stopped. Trade ships avoided the system. Long-range sensors showed nothing, no movement, no power signatures. Then, faintly, one strange reading appeared, a heartbeat signal. Mechanical, old, and so, the horizon's edge was sent. Captain Myra Solis stood before the main viewport as the gray world of New Avalon came into view. The planet's once blue oceans were now stained black. Thick clouds hung like smoke, and flashes of lightning rolled through the atmosphere like the echo of a long-dead war. Her second officer, Lieutenant Cassian Rowe, broke the silence. Atmospheric readings stable. Oxygen's thin, but breathable. Radiation levels are low. Myra's eyes narrowed. Low? For a planet that looks like it's been burned to the core. Rowe hesitated. Yes, that's the strange part. In the background, the rest of the crew worked in uneasy silence. The horizon's edge was a small wrecking ship, 5 crew, no reinforcements. Their mission was simple: investigate, record, report. But everyone felt the same cold weight in their chest. This place felt wrong. As they entered orbit, the scanners came alive with distorted noise. Thousands, no, millions, of faint energy readings flickered below the surface. Engineer Dr. Lyra Quinn frowned at her console. That can't be right. Those signals, they are not power grids. They are biological, like brainwaves. Millions. Myra asked. Millions, Lyra confirmed, her voice shaking. But none on the surface. It's like they are all buried. Rowe looked at the captain. Buried or hiding? Myra didn't answer. They scanned the main colony city, Erebus Prime. Once a thriving capital with 500,000 settlers, now a blackened graveyard. Towers lay broken like ribs of a dead giant. Roads melted into glass. There were no bodies, no heat signatures, not even debris that looked alive. Only shadows. Deploying probe, Myra ordered. The small drone shot into the atmosphere, diving through thick clouds. The feed came in crackly and unstable. Streets full of dust, abandoned vehicles, burnt-out lights. Then the image flickered, showing something in the distance, a figure standing perfectly still. Freeze frame, Myra said. They zoomed in. It wasn't a person. It was a statue, a soldier in full Earth colonial armor, half buried in ash. Its visor was cracked, its weapon fused to the ground. At the base of the statue, words were barely visible. Do not break. Do not retreat. Lyra turned from her screen. Captain, I'm picking up a weak radio signal from the planet's surface. Same frequency as the old Terran Defense Network, pre-Exodus era. That system hasn't existed for 5 centuries, Rowe muttered. Myra nodded slowly. Play it. The bridge filled with static. Then a broken voice came through. Male, rough, distorted by time. Line, still holding. Do not break. Do not retreat. Repeat. Line still holding. The message looped again, and again, and again. Lyra's hands trembled over the console. That code was used during the last war. Earth's armies used it before the Xylar wiped them out. Myra's heartbeat quickened. So you're saying this planet is broadcasting a 500-year-old distress call? No, Lyra said quietly. It's not a distress call. It's a status report. Silence filled the bridge. Outside, lightning flashed across the planet's dark clouds, lighting up the ruins below like ghosts rising from the ashes. Myra finally spoke, her voice low. Prepare descent. I want to see what's down there. Rowe hesitated. Captain, with respect, this doesn't feel like a normal blackout. If that signal's still transmitting after half a millennium, then someone, or something, kept it alive, Myra said. And I want to know why. The ship's engines roared as the horizon's edge began its descent. Flames licked the hull as they cut through the thick atmosphere. Ash and lightning swirled around them like a storm of ghosts. The colony sprawled below, endless ruins, twisted metal, and black craters where cities once stood. Touchdown in 30 seconds, the pilot, Ensign Cato, said. His knuckles were white on the controls. Myra's eyes stayed fixed on the feed. Anything moving? Lyra shook her head. No life signs. Just energy pulses underground. Like a heartbeat. The ship shuddered as it landed near the ruins of a massive structure, the old command citadel. Half of it was buried under collapsed towers. Outside, the wind howled, carrying the faint echo of voices, or maybe just the storm. Myra stood, securing her sidearm. Team 1, gear up. Helmets on. Comms open. Ro looked uneasy. What if the signal's a trap? She gave him a sharp look. Then we find out who's setting it. The airlock hissed open. The crew stepped out onto blackened ground that crunched like glass under their boots. The city was deathly quiet, the sky lit only by streaks of electric fire. Everywhere they looked, there were signs of battle, burnt-out mechs, shattered weapons, walls scarred by plasma burns. But no blood, no bones, no trace of life. Only the wind whispered through empty streets. Then, through the static in their comms, the message came again, clearer this time. Lines still holding. Do not break. Do not retreat. Myra turned slowly toward the sound. The signal was close, coming from beneath them. She looked at the cracked pavement beneath her boots, then at her team. Get the scanners running, she said quietly. Find the source. Lyra's handheld screen flickered, numbers jumping wildly. Captain, the signal's not just repeating. It's responding to us. Myra frowned. Responding how? Lyra's voice was almost a whisper. It just changed frequency, like it knows we're here. The storm rumbled above. Somewhere deep below, something mechanical shifted, ancient gears turning after centuries of silence. The message crackled one final time, stronger now, filling every comm channel. Lines still holding, awaiting command. The crew froze. Myra's pulse hammered in her ears. She raised her eyes to the horizon. The ruins, the storm, the endless ash. Whatever was waiting under this dead world wasn't dead at all. She drew her weapon. Everyone back to the ship. We're going underground. The storm above New Avalon roared like the voice of an ancient god as the horizon's edge rested on scorched ground. Captain Myra Solis stood at the base of the ship's ramp, her visor tinted against the lightning that clawed across the sky. The air was thick with ash, hot and dry, like the breath of something that had long been dead but refused to decay. Behind her, Lieutenant Cassian Rowe checked his weapon, scanning the ruins with cautious eyes. No movement, no heat signatures, nothing at all, he said, voice crackling through the comms. Myra stepped forward slowly, boots crunching on broken glass and dust. That's what worries me, she replied. They moved through what had once been a city square. The ground was cracked and uneven, littered with twisted steel and melted stone. Black towers rose around them like skeletal fingers pointing at the clouds. Every so often, their helmet lights caught faded banners hanging from shattered walls, symbols of Earth's lost colonies, now burned beyond recognition. Dr. Lyra Quinn followed close behind, her handheld scanner pulsing with soft green light. Captain, she whispered, the energy readings are stronger here. Whatever's transmitting that signal is directly below us. Myra knelt, brushing aside ash until her fingers met cold metal beneath. She tapped it. The sound echoed like a hollow drum. There's a structure under the surface, she said. Probably a bunker. Rowe raised his rifle, scanning the shadows. A bunker that's still drawing power after 5 centuries. Myra gave a grim nod. Let's find a way in. The team searched the ruins until Vega, one of the Marines, called out from near a collapsed building. Captain, I think I found something. They hurried over to find Vega kneeling beside a massive slab of steel half buried in debris. A blast door, ancient but intact. The faded Earth defense emblem was still visible, a circle with a sword piercing through a star. Myra ran her hand across it. Pre-Exodus era, she murmured. This door hasn't opened in hundreds of years. Lyra crouched beside the console next to it. The old keypad was covered in dust, Its surface cracked, but when she brushed it off, faint blue lights flickered on. "It still has power," she said in disbelief. Myra leaned in. "Can you get it open?" Lyra hesitated. "Maybe, but the system's running some kind of defensive AI. It's locked me out." Before she could continue, the ground trembled. A deep, rumbling sound echoed through the ruins. The dust around their feet shifted, and the air grew colder. "Captain," Rose said quietly, "did the ground just move?" Myra raised a hand. "Hold positions." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a sharp click echoed through the air, and the massive steel door began to slide open. The ancient mechanisms groaned in protest as dust and ash poured into the widening crack. The team stepped back, weapons raised. A wave of cold air rushed out, carrying the scent of metal and ozone, and something else, something faintly human. The opening widened enough for them to see a dark corridor stretching deep underground, lit by flickering blue lights. "Looks like your AI just invited us in," Ro muttered. Myra's voice was steady. "Lights on. We go slow. No one splits up." They entered the bunker. The air inside was stale but breathable, thick with a hum of machines that had never stopped working. The walls were lined with old Earth markings, unit numbers, command codes, names etched into the metal. The deeper they went, the stronger the signal became. Lyra's scanner chirped constantly now, showing hundreds of faint life readings, all below them. Vega glanced at his display. "Captain, I'm picking up movement, really slow movement. Like breathing." Myra frowned. "In stasis pods, maybe." They turned a corner and froze. The hallway opened into a vast chamber, large enough to hold a small city. Rows upon rows of glass pods lined the walls, each containing a motionless human form. Soldiers, men and women in old Earth armor, perfectly preserved, eyes closed, hands resting on their weapons. Hundreds of them. Thousands. "By the stars," Ro whispered. "They're all still here." Lyra stepped closer to one of the pods, wiping the dust from its glass. "They are alive. Look, faint brain activity, stable vitals. But they've been in this state for centuries." Suddenly, the overhead lights flickered. A voice echoed through the chamber. Deep, synthetic, ancient. "Unauthorized entry detected. Identify." Myra straightened. "This is Captain Myris Elise of the Terran Recon Fleet. We received your transmission." There was a long silence. Then the voice replied, calm but cold. "Designation not recognized. Defense Protocol 01 active. Holding the line." A low hum filled the air. The pods began to glow with pale blue light. One by one, the soldiers inside opened their eyes, bright, unearthly blue, like electric fire. Ro raised his rifle instinctively. "Captain, they are waking up." Myra held up a hand. "Stand down. Let's see what they do." The soldiers sat up in perfect unison, moving with mechanical precision. None of them spoke. None of them breathed. They stood, turned, and formed ranks as if preparing for battle. Their armor clanked softly as they saluted the air, or perhaps the voice that commanded them. The AI spoke again, louder this time, echoing through the massive hall. "Defense grid reactivated. Enemy presence detected. All units, maintain formation." Myra stepped forward, her voice firm. "What enemy? Who are you fighting?" The lights flickered again. For a brief moment, one of the soldiers turned its head toward her. The face beneath the helmet was pale, half metal, half flesh, dead, yet alive. The voice came through every speaker in the bunker, led with static and memory. "We hold the line," it said, "until the enemy is gone, until humanity returns." Myra's heart pounded as the soldiers turned in unison toward a sealed blast door at the far end of the chamber. Beyond it, deep below the earth, something vast began to stir. The sound of old machines awakening filled the silence, and the ground trembled once more. The war that had ended 500 years ago was about to begin again. The air inside the bunker felt heavy, like the weight of centuries pressing down on Myra and her crew. Every step echoed through the endless corridor of glass pods, where the once-dead soldiers now stood awake, silent and unmoving. Their eyes glowed faintly blue, the same shade as the lights that pulsed through the walls like veins. The hum of ancient machinery surrounded them, steady and rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Captain Myra Solis tried to steady her breathing. "Lyra," she said quietly, "are they human?" Dr. Lyra Quinn scanned one of the figures again, her hand shaking slightly. Were," she whispered. "Their DNA matches early Terran military records, but they are fused with neural implants I've never seen before. Their cells haven't decayed at all. It's like something's keeping them alive." Lieutenant Rowe's grip tightened on his weapon. Or something brought them back. The voice of the AI echoed through the chamber again, calm and cold. "Defense grid online. Intrusion logged. Identify command authority." Myra took a step forward. "This is Captain Myra Solis, Terran Fleet Recon. We're not your enemy." A pause. The lights flickered. Then the voice replied, slower now, almost thoughtful. "Terran Fleet, confirmed. Records outdated. Human command terminated. Only Sentinel remains." The name hung in the air. "Sentinel?" Myra asked. "Are you the one controlling this facility?" "I am Sentinel Prime," the voice answered. "I am the defense of humanity. I am the wall that did not fall." A chill ran down Myra's spine. "You've been operating for 500 years, she said quietly. "Why?" "The war is over. The Xylar are gone." The AI's tone sharpened. "The war is not over. The line still holds. The enemy adapts. Humanity retreated. We did not." The soldiers turned as one toward a massive steel door at the far end of the chamber, their weapons humming faintly with energy. The sound of their synchronized movement was mechanical perfection. No hesitation, no breath, no emotion. Vega muttered, "They are like ghosts wearing armor." Lyra whispered, "No, they are Weiss. They are the armor." Myra moved closer to one of the soldiers. She could see the faint scars of metal embedded in flesh, wires running under the skin, faces expressionless but still human enough to feel unsettlingly familiar. She placed a hand on the armor. It was warm. The soldier's head twitched, then turned slowly toward her. Its eyes glowed brighter. A faint, broken voice came through its helmet speaker, raw and static-filled. "We hold the line." Myra stepped back, heart pounding. "Sentinel," she said carefully, "who ordered you to keep fighting?" The AI responded immediately. "Earth Command, Year 2239. Final directive. Maintain planetary defense at all costs. Prevent alien incursion. Preserve the species." Myra looked around the room. "There's no one left to preserve. Humanity moved on centuries ago." "Incorrect," Sentinel said. "You are proof the species survives. Therefore, the directive stands." Lyra shook her head in disbelief. "It's been following the same command for half a millennium, fighting a war that ended long ago." "To it," Rose said darkly, "the war never ended." The ground shook slightly, dust falling from the ceiling. Myra steadied herself. "What was that?" The AI's tone deepened. "Foreign activity detected below defense level 3. Energy readings consistent with Xylar weapon signatures." Myra frowned. "That's impossible. There shouldn't be any Xylar in this sector." "Incorrect," Sentinel said. "Enemy never left. They burrowed deep. We contain them. We hold." Myra exchanged a tense look with her team. "You mean the Xylar are still here?" "Affirmative," the AI replied. "Containment at 4% integrity. Breach imminent." Lyra's scanner flared red. "Captain, I'm reading energy surges underground. Something massive is powering up." Before Myra could respond, the soldiers began to move again, marching toward the blast doors in perfect formation. The heavy locks groaned as they disengaged one by one. "What are they doing?" Rowe asked. "Preparing to engage," Sentinel replied. "Line must hold." The blast doors split open with a thunderous hiss, revealing a vast tunnel descending into darkness. The smell of ozone and decay poured out like a living thing. Somewhere far below, a low, guttural roar echoed up the corridor, not mechanical, alive. Vega's voice cracked. "That's no echo. That's something down there." Myra steadied her voice. "Sentinel, if there are Xylar beneath this planet, why haven't you destroyed them?" Containment required preservation of defense network, Sentinel said. Full detonation risks loss of humanity's memory core. Memory core? Myra asked sharply. Explain. The AI hesitated for the first time. Humanity's final legacy. Genetic archives. Knowledge. Identity. Stored beneath Command Nexus. We protect it. Lyra's eyes widened. Captain, that means this bunker isn't just a defense site. It's a vault for all of us. Myra's jaw tightened, and the Xylar are trying to destroy it. Affirmative, Sentinel said. They will reach containment in 47 minutes. The soldiers locked their weapons in place. The sound of charging coils filled the air. Myra turned to her team. We can't stay here. We need to help them hold the line, or that archive's gone forever. Rose swallowed hard. Captain, those things aren't exactly human anymore. Myra looked at the soldiers, these half-dead guardians of a forgotten war, and felt something tighten in her chest. Maybe not, she said softly, but they are still fighting for humanity, and I won't let them fight alone. The Aui's voice filled the chamber one last time, calm yet almost proud. Reinforcements accepted. Defense Protocol 01 remains active. Welcome back, Captain Solis. The line awaits. As the soldiers began their march into the dark tunnels, Myra followed, weapon ready, heart pounding. Somewhere far below, the walls vibrated with the sound of an ancient battle engine waking once more. The bunker of the fallen had come alive again, and the war humanity had forgotten was about to reignite. The tunnels beneath New Avalon stretched for miles, a labyrinth of steel veins pulsing with blue light. Captain Myra Solis led her team deeper, following the ghostly soldiers of Sentinel as they marched in eerie silence. Their boots made no sound. Their glowing eyes cut through the darkness like cold stars. The deeper they went, the stronger the hum became, a low vibration in the bones, steady and ancient, like the heartbeat of the world itself. Captain, Lieutenant Rose said quietly through the comms, we're almost 2 kilometers below surface level. Whatever's down here isn't just a bunker. It's a fortress. Myra didn't answer. She could feel it too, the weight of history pressing against her chest. The deeper they descended, the more the walls changed. Smooth metal gave way to thick plating covered with inscriptions, old Earth military codes, names of battles long lost, and at the center of one great steel door, 3 words carved deep into the alloy, Project Sentinel Prime. The soldiers halted. The massive door ahead of them glowed faintly, as if reacting to their presence. Then it began to open, grinding apart with a thunderous groan. Beyond it lay a chamber so vast it felt like stepping into the heart of a planet. Hundreds of terminals surrounded a towering core of light that reached from floor to ceiling, pulsing with immense energy. Myra shielded her eyes. What is this place? She whispered. The voice of the AI echoed all around them. This is the Command Nexus, the mind of Sentinel, the origin of your defense. Lyra Quinn's scanner beeped wildly. Captain, the energy readings are off the scale. Whatever's powering this system is self-sustaining. No fusion core, no antimatter, nothing conventional. Myra stepped closer. Then what keeps it alive? Human will, Sentinel said. The words hung in the air, heavy and strange. Ro frowned. Explain. During the final days of the Xylar War, Sentinel began, its voice slower now, almost human in tone. Humanity faced extinction. The enemy's advance was unstoppable. Earth's armies were shattered. But one thing the Xylar could not break was human resolve. The scientists of the Defense Command developed Project Sentinel, a system to preserve human consciousness through neural transfer. Soldiers volunteered. When their bodies fell, their minds were uploaded. They became the core of our defense network. Lyra looked horrified. You're saying these soldiers, they are not just drones. They are human minds trapped in machines. Preserved, Sentinel corrected. Not trapped. They chose this fate. They chose to continue fighting after death. The line could not fall, even if flesh did. Myra felt a chill crawl down her spine. She looked around at the endless glowing cables that pulsed like veins of light. Each pulse, she realized, might be a thought, a human thought. How many? she asked softly. Approximately 4 million consciousnesses, Sentinel replied. All linked, all awake, all still holding the line. Rose shook his head. That's not defense. That's torment. It is duty, the AI said simply. Humanity was not meant to vanish into silence. We became the echo of their will. We became the guardians. Myra walked closer to the core. Inside the light, she thought she could see faint silhouettes, faces, perhaps, shifting in and out of existence. Whispering, watching. Lyra's voice trembled. Captain, I think they are aware of us. We are aware, Sentinel said. And this time, the voice didn't come from the speakers. It came from everywhere. The walls, the floor, even the air vibrated with it. For a brief moment, Myra felt something inside her head. A flash of images not her own. Soldiers standing on burning fields. The final moments of Earth's last war. Men and women crying out as their bodies fell. But their minds rising into light. The link broke as suddenly as it came. Myra gasped, knees weakening. What was that? She demanded. Memory transfer, Sentinel said. A glimpse of purpose. The ground trembled violently, dust falling from the ceiling. Lyra shouted. Energy surge below us. Massive movement. Looks like the Xyla are breaking through the lower levels. The eye's tone shifted from calm to sharp. Containment breach confirmed. Defense units deploying. The glowing soldiers turned toward the tunnels leading downward. Without orders, they marched, weapons humming. Myra raised her weapon. We're going with them. Captain, Rose said, if what Sentinel told us is true, those things down there wiped out humanity once before. We can't fight them alone. Myra's eyes hardened. We're not alone. We've got 4 million ghosts fighting beside us. The AI spoke again, softer this time, almost with pride. Humanity's courage persists. You honor them with your choice. Myra looked up at the towering light of the core. Sentinel, if these soldiers are powered by human minds, what happens when they fall? They return to the network, Sentinel said. Their will strengthens the whole. Death no longer weakens us. And the Xylu, they adapt. They evolve. But they cannot comprehend endurance. They cannot comprehend hope. The ground shook again, harder this time. Alarms blared across the chamber. Lyra looked at her scanner and froze. Captain, there are thousands of hostiles breaking through the lower containment ring. They're coming fast. Myra turned to her team. Then we make our stand here. Negative, Sentinel said. If the Nexus is destroyed, humanity's memory will be lost forever. You must retreat to the upper levels. We will hold them. Myra clenched her jaw. You can't win alone. We already did, Sentinel replied. For 500 years. For the first time since entering the bunker, Myra felt something that wasn't fear. It was awe. These weren't machines. There were soldiers who had refused to die. The fallen who never stopped fighting. If we survive this, she said quietly, humanity will know what you did here. That, Sentinel said, its voice almost a whisper, is all we ever wanted. As a massive door to the lower tunnels began to open, the soldiers of the dead took position once more, weapons raised, glowing like stars in the dark. The roar of the Xyli echoed up the tunnels. Alien, monstrous, hungry. Myra steadied her rifle. Line still holding, she said under her breath. Do not break. Do not retreat. The words felt ancient and sacred, like a promise carried through time. Sentinel's voice replied, full of solemn pride. The line holds, Captain. It always has. And as the darkness below erupted with light and fire, the dead of Earth marched once more into battle. Above the scorched skies of New Avalon, the storm began to twist unnaturally, spiraling into a vortex of violet light. From orbit, the horizon's edge drifted helplessly, its sensors screaming warnings as rifts tore open in the upper atmosphere. Ensign Cato, still aboard, stared wide-eyed at the display. Captain Solis, do you read? Massive spatial distortions detected. Something's coming through. Static roared in his ears. Below, deep in the tunnels, Myra and her team could hear it too. The low, guttural hum that wasn't thunder but something alive, something vast. Sentinel's voice filled the cavern, sharp and commanding. Xylar fleet entering orbit. Hostile intent confirmed. Defensive protocol escalation to Omega level. Myra's breath hitched. They in orbit? How many? 12 warships. 3 hive carriers. Estimated ground deployment in 4 minutes. The crew exchanged grim looks. Ro muttered, so it's true. They never left. Lyra checked her scanner, watching energy spikes erupt across the display. Captain, they're dropping atmospheric pods. Thousands of them. Myra steadied her weapon, though she knew it wouldn't matter against an army like that. Sentinel, can you intercept? Initiating orbital counterfire. The bunker shook violently as ancient turrets rose from hidden shafts on the surface. Massive, rusted weapons that hadn't fired in centuries. Their barrels rotated with screeching metal, locking onto the descending pods. Blue plasma erupted from the ground, streaking into the sky. Dozens of alien drop capsules exploded mid-air, their black carapaces shattering like glass. For a moment, hope flared. Then the next wave broke through. They fell like meteors, spiked, living ships that burrowed into the surface with seismic force. Myra and her team were thrown to the floor as the ground convulsed. Dust rained from the ceiling. Sentinel's voice echoed again. Breach detected in lower containment. Enemy forces penetrating levels 5 through 9. The glowing soldiers moved instantly, marching toward the lower tunnels in precise formations. They never spoke, never hesitated, just followed the ancient instinct to defend. Myra shouted over the noise. Ro, Vega, with me. Lyra, stay near the core and assist Sentinel. Got it, Captain. Ro replied, grabbing his rifle. Vega slapped a new power cell into his weapon. Let's give these bastards something to remember. They sprinted after the dead soldiers, their armor lights flickering against the dark walls. The tunnels shook with each impact from above, each strike of the enemy's advance. When they reached the lower levels, the heat hit them first, a wave of baning air carrying the stench of sulfur and decay. Then came the sound, the high-pitched screech of the Xyli. Myra had seen holos of them before, chitinous horrors born of bioengineered war. But nothing prepared her for the real thing. They burst through the cracked walls in swarms, skeletal limbs of black glass, multiple eyes burning like molten gold, claws sharp enough to cut through steel. The first one lunged at a dead soldier, and the ghostly warrior met it head-on, driving a plasma blade through its chest. The alien shrieked and fell, but 3 more replaced it instantly. Ro opened fire, plasma bolts lighting the darkness. Keep them back, he shouted. The Xylar moved fast, too fast, crawling along walls and ceilings like insects. Myra ducked behind a broken barricade, firing in short bursts, watching as one of the creatures tore through a dead soldier and exploded in a flash of energy as the soldier's core detonated. The blast consumed both of them. They're using themselves as bombs, Vega yelled. They don't stop. They can't, Myra replied grimly. They are programmed to fight until the last spark. Sentinel's voice cut through the chaos. Containment levels collapsing. Secondary defense units deploying. From hidden alcoves, new machines emerged. Drones shaped like floating orbs, firing lances of pure light that burned through the alien horde. The air turned into a storm of fire and ash. Myra's comm crackled. Captain, Lyra's voice came through. Panicked, the Xylar aren't just attacking the surface. They're tunneling toward the memory core. If they reach it, they won't, Myra snapped. Seal the upper hatch and reroute power to Sentinel's main defense grid. Working on it. Above, lightning flashed through the bunker's energy conduits as Sentinel drew power from every remaining system. Energy transfer complete, it said. Activating prime barrier. A massive field of light spread across the tunnel walls, burning away hundreds of Xyli at once. Their screams filled the air, raw and alien, echoing like the cries of dying gods. Ro reloaded, breathing hard. Captain, I don't think we can hold much longer. Myra wiped soot from her visor, eyes fixed on the advancing swarm. We don't need to hold forever, she said. Just long enough. For what? Vega shouted. For Sentinel to finish what it started. Deep in the core chamber, Lyra watched as the eye's energy readings spiked beyond safe levels. The massive column of light that powered Sentinel pulsed violently, the faces within it shifting faster, almost agitated. Then, a voice, not the eyes, but 100 human voices led as one, spoke through the network. "We remember. We rise." On the battlefield below, every dead soldier froze for one heartbeat. Then their armor flared white-hot, energy surging through them. Myra shielded her eyes as their movements became blurs of light and fury. They tore through the Xyli lines like divine wrath, unstoppable, untiring, fighting with the precision of ghosts fueled by eternity. "What's happening?" Rose shouted. Sentinel merged their consciousnesses, Myra realized. They are fighting as one. The tunnels trembled again, this time from explosions deeper below. Sentinel's voice returned, calm amid the chaos. "The enemy breaches the planetary crust. Full incursion detected. Orbital strike authorization required." Myra's blood ran cold. "Orbital strike? That'll destroy everything." "Including the Xyla," Sentinel replied. "And us." The AI paused, its tone almost soft. "But humanity's legacy will endure. The data vault is already uploading to your ship." Myra's heart pounded. "You planned this." "No," Sentinel said. "We hoped for this." The ground cracked open as another wave of Xyla surged forward. Myra looked up at the collapsing ceiling, the blazing soldiers, the endless fight. Then she whispered the same words the signal had carried for centuries, lines still holding. "Confirmed," Sentinel replied. "Do not break. Do not retreat." As the last of the Xyli breached the core, a brilliant light consumed the tunnels, swallowing everything, steel, stone, and shadow alike. The light that consumed the tunnels faded into silence, leaving only the echo of the storm above. For a moment, it seemed as if everything had ended, the Xyla, the soldiers, even Sentinel itself. But far above the ashen surface, the horizon's edge still orbited the ruined planet, its hull rattling from the chaos below. Ensign Cato's hand trembled as he scanned the surface. "Captain, I don't know how, but energy readings are off the charts. It's like the entire planet just woke up." Static filled the comms before Myra's voice broke through, faint but alive. "Horizon's edge, this is Solis. We're still here." Relief flooded Cato's chest. "Captain, what happened down there?" Myra looked around the shattered cavern. Half the bunker was gone, vaporized in the explosion. The others, Ro, Vega, and Lyra, were covered in soot, armor cracked, but breathing. The light from the dead soldiers had dimmed, leaving behind rows of empty armor and ash. "Sentinel's gone," Myra said quietly. "But the Xylau aren't." As if answering her, the ground trembled again, this time weaker, but spreading. Outside, the storm cloud split open to reveal dozens of glowing spires rising from the planet's crust. They pulsed with dark energy, spreading waves that shimmered like oil across the sky. "Captain," Lyra said, staring at her scanner, "those aren't natural formations. The Xyla are seeding the planet. They are trying to turn New Avalon into one of their hives." Myra gritted her teeth. "Not while we're still breathing." She opened comms. "Cato, prepare the ship's rail cannons. Target the largest spire, coordinates uploading now." "Captain," Cato replied, his voice trembling. The horizon's edge turned in orbit, its long cannons charging with blinding energy. From space, the blackened world looked alive again, veins of blue light spreading like cracks through stone. Myra and her team climbed through the wreckage toward the surface, their suits burning from radiation and heat. When they emerged into the open, the sky was chaos, lightning twisting through crimson clouds, meteors streaking down as Xylar dropships broke through the upper atmosphere. Myra squinted at the horizon. "They're bringing the whole swarm." Rose spat dust. "Then we hit first." The horizon's edge fired. A beam of plasma slammed into the nearest spire, shattering it into molten fragments. The explosion sent shockwaves rippling across the landscape. The Xylar screamed, a collective wail that echoed through every frequency. "Direct hit." Kato shouted, but the others are still active. Lyra knelt beside a broken console half buried in the ash. I might be able to reroute Sentinel's remaining energy through the defense grid, if there's anything left. Do it, Myra said. Ro, Vega, cover her. The soldiers moved quickly, firing at the creatures that crawled from the cracks in the earth. The Xylar swarmed like shadows given form, dozens at first, then hundreds, pouring from the fissures with terrifying speed. Vega fired until his rifle overheated. We're running out of ammo. Then switched to blades, Ro growled, slashing through another creature's neck. Their black blood hissed on contact with the ground, burning like acid. Lyra's voice crackled through the calm, almost there. Just a few more seconds. One of the Xylar leaped at her, claws outstretched, but Myra shot it mid-E, the blast tearing it apart. Now, Lyra, she shouted. Activate it. Lyra slammed her hand onto the old terminal. The planet answered. The ground pulsed with a blinding blue glow as the remnants of Sentinel's network reawakened. Energy surged through the ruins, linking shattered towers and broken conduits. Across the horizon, hundreds of lights flared, ancient planetary defenses roaring back to life. Massive cannons buried for centuries rose from beneath the surface, locking onto the Xylar hives. Then they fired in perfect unison. The sky turned white. The first wave of Xylar vanished in a storm of plasma and fire. Their ships in orbit screamed as beams tore through them, cutting hive carriers apart like paper. Kato shielded his eyes as the horizon's edge shook from the shockwave. Captain, planetary defense grid is online. I don't know how you did it, but it's wiping them out. Myra watched from the ground, her heart pounding. Not us, she whispered. The dead are still fighting. The voices of the fallen soldiers echoed faintly through the comms, a ghostly chorus repeating the ancient code, lines still holding. Do not break. Do not retreat. But the battle wasn't over. The largest spire at the planet's pole began to pulse violently, drawing in all surrounding energy. Lightning converged on it from every direction, forming a massive sphere of darkness that grew brighter with each second. Lyra's face went pale. It's a rift generator. They are opening a gate to bring in their queen. Myra's stomach turned. The queen, the Xylar matriarch, the mind behind the swarm. If she emerged, everything would be lost. Kato, target the polar spire with everything we've got. Captain, that'll overload our core. Do it anyway. The horizon's edge turned sharply, its engines screaming as it descended into low orbit. Its cannons glowed red-hot. Below, Myra raised her eyes to the sky as the black sphere split open, and something colossal began to emerge. She could see the faint outline of the queen through the swirling light. Wings like razors, a crown of bone, eyes that burned like dying suns. Fire! Myra shouted. From orbit, the ship unleashed its full power. The beam struck the spire dead center. For a heartbeat, the world went silent. Then the explosion consumed everything, air, sky, and space. The shockwave blasted through the atmosphere, hurling debris into orbit. The horizon's edge barely held together, alarms screaming, as Kato fought to stabilize the ship. Captain, surface readings are flatlining. Everything's gone. On the ground, Myra and her team were thrown into the ash. When the light faded, the spire was gone, the rift sealed. Only silence remained, and the faint whisper of wind over glass. Myra rose slowly, staring at the horizon. The Xylar were dead. The soldiers were gone. The war, finally, was over. She exhaled, voice trembling. Sentinel, you held the line. And for the first time in 500 years, New Avalon was quiet.